So the first thing, you want to make sure that any of the old rigging that we're not going to use anymore is gone. Like this line that runs through it, we're not doing it like that anymore. So this bag that we're doing is pretty clean already. I don't think that it's too much of a concern if there's some old growth, but I think for the most part, as long as the seaweed or the algae and the barnacles and whatever is dead, when we put it back in the water, that will rinse off. You also want to make sure that the bag is not damaged. So kind of inspect it to make sure that there's not a big tear or gash in the mesh. Sometimes you can repair small ones with zip ties, but if it's really bad, then we won't use them. For zip tying the floats, I use 3, one on each end and one in the middle, and try to make it so the float's not like, you keep in mind that this is going to be closed, so you got to try to make this float in the middle of the bag. So when you cut the twine, I like using this heat gun because it gives a nice clean cut and it's not going to fray as much. I don't know if that's necessary. Also, there's a health concern with that too. You don't want to get cancer from the fumes. If you do that, open the window or hold your breath really long. So this is the length that you want. We're just going to use this as a sample. It'll be up on the wall, and you just use this as a measure while you cut. So you just line them up and cut a new piece. So this is the way that I thread them through. You see where this overlaps? You start on the next hole after that, and you go through so it's totally around it's tied through the mesh that is doubled up, so it's probably stronger that way. Sometimes when the bag's pretty fouled, or in this case covered in ice, it's kind of hard, so you might need to go one down, and then you thread it under it and pull it tight. You put an overhand knot there at the bottom of that, and then you put an overhand knot at the top. And I like to do that twice just because the ends are frayed, and also this is where the clip will be threaded through this like this, and it'll be pulling against that, and just to make sure that end doesn't come undone, just give it a second overhand knot. When you're cutting these, same sort of thing, you got to figure out the length that you need. We'll probably cut one and hang it up as just like that's the measuring stick, but make sure that it's longer than the bag, but also leave a little on each end so you can loop it around on each end. One thing that you want to inspect before you set this up is that this lip is going to be strong enough. Like, see how on the end here, this is cut sort of thin, and then a lot of times you have spots where it's torn up and it's broken. So make sure that you're going to be threading this through something that's going to be able to hold. This is how you do an end. Alright, these are the hog tie pliers. There's a couple different ones. I mean, this one, like the springs are different on this. I think that, use different ones, see which one works best for you. I still haven't figured that out, which one I like the best. And make sure after you have squeezed it initially that you really clamp down on it, because it gives a little bit more, and we want to make sure these hold tight. And I end up putting 2 on just to, add some redundancy. All right, this is the other end. And now when you do this, you know, go a couple in, because I mean, if you're just doing around the end here and that breaks, then this thing will just be, you know, set free. So give it a couple.
And go.
So you want to make sure that there's a little bit of slack, but not too much. And then, you know, you nail it down in the middle with the hog tie around the rope and around the mesh. On the smaller gauge meshes, it's kind of hard to do that. Sometimes you really have to get it just right and sort of use, you know, the needle nose ends of these, you know. So this part's a little tricky. You use the bigger clips, the bigger hog ties, and what you want to do is get it around one end and then clinch that end. So it's kind of hard to sometimes because the thing is going to want to slip.
Go.
And make sure that's real tight. So you put one here and one on the other side of this middle hog tie, which I put really far off center. Don't do that.
That's it. Go.
So this is the end product, and this is how it will close. And if it doesn't work this way, you did it wrong. And that's how you make a bag the Nonesuch way.